Hey, I'm Ryan Ellis, and I'm really excited to tell you about the book Jim Candy by Carl Duker. His genre is realistic fiction. I chose the book because it was about football. I like football. I've liked it since I was a little kid, played it since I was a little kid, and I thought it'd be a really good book to read. A brief summary of the book was it's about the protagonist, Mick Johnson. He's a football player. He's played his whole life. His dad was a fantastic college player, but he burned out in the NFL. And so Mick's been kind of subconsciously trying to do something his father couldn't and be a better ball player. And Mick's just getting out of Pop Warner. He's starting his first year of high school football, and he's having some problems, and he's realizing that maybe he's not that good of a player after all. It's set around Oregon, up on the border near Oregon and Washington, because it says so. When he drives around, and he drives almost into Washington one day when he's depressed. Halfway through the story, Mick, he decides, I'm not that good of a player. I'm not going to be able to start my sophomore year unless I go and do something about it. He says, I have to get stronger and I have to get faster. And so Mick goes to the gym called Popeyes down the street that his father kind of bought. And when he's down there, his dad sets up a personal trainer to meet him, and the personal trainer recommends steroids. And Mick, at first, he thinks, no, I don't want to do this. It's not, if I want to do something, it's going to be me, not some drug doing it. And then after he gets beat up by the guy who's starting ahead of him, he decides to go on the steroids. The first set of, at first, his trainer, his name's Peter, he starts him off with D-ball, and Mick at first, he starts to feel, he says, it feels like nothing's really bothering him, he doesn't even feel any different. But when he gets to school, he starts a roid rage and ends up slamming a kid that he's known his whole life and said he was real jolly and fat. Ends up slamming him against lockers for bumping into him. Halfway, a little bit further on, Mick is still weak. He gets depressed, and he decides that he's going to go on a stack, which is a combination of different drugs, which means he's going to have to start injecting himself. And he's getting the injections through Peter, and Peter injects him, and Mick injects Peter for the first week, and after that Mick does it on himself. And then they get to the first game of his sophomore year, and he's breaking records, and he's a superstar, and everybody likes him. And he gets to the point where he's real depressed again because he started to decline. And at the end, he tries to kill himself, and it don't work, and he ends up being put in physical therapy, and he doesn't get to play football anymore. I like this book because it was about football, and I think it hit a really good topic for a lot of the younger players to know that performance-enhancing drugs aren't always the right way to go. I disliked the suicidal stuff, the depression, because it kind of made me sad when I read it. I recommend this book to a lot of young athletes just because performance-enhancing drugs aren't all sunshine and rainbows.